This is the 7th small group discussion with J. Krishnamurti in Gstaad, 1964.
Isn't there a danger, I'm just asking, that we neglect the activity of the animal and are eager to go into some other field?
That is the activity of the animals.
That is, and that's what I'm just wondering, how much we have learned. I wonder if you have learned, not settled, not say I'll have only one house, 2 suits and 3 meals or 1 meal a day and that's that. I don't mean that way. I mean learned about the activity of the animal. Because there's a lot to learn all the time there.
Do you mean that there's a danger to go too far without having a basis?
Basis. And also learning begins there, not there.
Exactly. There's only one place to learn.
Yeah, not, please, I want to be very clear on this because it's very interesting. I was watching myself on never mind. This whole problem of learning. Whether I'm learning about, whether the mind is learning about the movement, about the activities of the animal, and therefore from there it is beginning already sowing the seed of learning, and then moving from there, learning, not coming to a point of I do not know and then learn some other activity. I don't know if I'm
in opposition.
Yeah. And I think we ought to a little bit discuss this question of learning a little more. Shouldn't we? I don't know.
Yes.
Have I learned? Am I learning about is one learning about the activities and the actions of the animal? Learning, I mean learning, not taking a position of need, taking a position with regard to need and there settling it and moving on. I don't know if I'm making myself clear. Because if I want to learn, that is the whole process of the whole essence of what we were discussing yesterday. So I want to learn about the activity of the animal. Can the mind learn about the activity of the animal without taking a determined position of choice and leaving it there and then going on into another realm of learning? You understand, sir?
Which is the same thing again.
No, I just want to be quite sure that we are not doing that.
Yes.
I wonder if I made myself clear, right, sir? Yes? All right. Because you see, if the mind approaches the activity of the animal with a freshness, which is what we were discussing yesterday when I say I don't know, then my learning about the action of the squirrel or the ape is entirely different. Right? Are we meeting each other? Or is there no communication? No? You understood, sir? Right. We said yesterday, and we say it in a different way now, that learning can only take place when there is no accumulation. And that's a vital thing to understand, not just a verbal statement and you carry on. Because I was wondering yesterday, on my walk, Mr. Fraser, where is he? We saw each other on the walk as well. What is mutation, you see? We'll come to that, sorry. I must go slowly. I'm jumping too fast. Full of bubbles this morning, sorry. As I was saying yesterday, learning can only take place when the mind has completely understood the whole process of accumulation of the animal. And it can only learn about the activities of the animal when the mind is in a state of not knowing the activities. Not knowing, not about the activity, sorry, in a state of not knowing. And then it can, with that state of mind, look with a freshness, with an innocence, with a clarity at the activities of the animal. Then the learning becomes much more important than the adjustment to society, to family, or adjustment in particular relationship. I don't. Hai capito? Bene. So where do we start? There, out there, or here, right? We landed yesterday out there. And I feel we ought to start here, not out there. Huh?
Yes.
All right, you're getting it, sir?
Yes, I'm not quite sure about that. Which do you mean by out there?
Out there,
There is the looking for the something else.
No.
Which is which?
Huh?
Which is which? We want to.
It's clearly clear. Sorry, I was.
Yesterday we started from the animalistic and got to something.
Intelligence which is not of this dimension.
Yes.
Now, and there is the jumping ball for something else. But have we clearly understood, or rather learned about the activities of the animal? Learning about the activities of the animal, which has propelled the mind to that, not neglect this and that.
But isn't it that same intelligence?
That's what I want to relate it. That's what I want to get at. That's what I want to get, sir. Does your mind and my mind start from with not knowing out there, you understand what I use the word
Yes.
there, in the sense that transformed intelligence,
Yes.
and say I don't know and proceed further, or do I start learning with that mind which says I don't know, I'm going to look at the activities of the squirrel. Right?
We have no conclusion that we got to yesterday, and we're going to use that to
Yes.
go on, but rather we must take
Yeah.
the fact as it is today, right?
Yes, that's right. I would like to start from here rather than from there.
Yes.
Is that clear enough?
Yes, perfect.
Right. Because it's much more realistic than that.
Yes, yes, yes.
And when the mind has really is learning about this, it will naturally come to the other.
Mm.
And not make a mystical process of that. There is a mysticism or mystery beyond that, but we'll come to. But to start off making mystery follow, it leads nowhere. It leads only to illusion. So, how do we look at the animal, the animalistic activity? The learning. I'm talking about the learning. You follow, sir? Learning about the activity of the animal, not coming to a conclusion about the activity of the animal, and from that conclusion act, or rather act from learning. Right? Huh? Right? So, action is for most of us having come to a conclusion and then act from that. This good, this bad, this must be, must not, all that. And what we are trying to find out now is what we are doing now is learning which is non-accumulative, non-additive, and with that mind, learning about the activity of the animal. Huh? Right? The learning is acting, not the activity or the curtailment or the dictates of the squirrel. I don't know. Huh? Do you get it? The learning is acting, not the social environment, not the social adjustment, not the family adjustment, the economic necessity. You follow?
Yes.
That is making us act. Right?
Yes.
And we are saying that learning is only possible when there is no accumulative, additive process. And in that learning there is action which is already has already a different quality which is non-animalistic. I don't know. I'm getting, huh?
It's very clear.
Right?
Wait, see, very well.
Yes, it's perfectly clear.
The point is, learning is itself action, but
Yes.
it's from learning born an action.
No.
There's no
Learning is the
Learning
action.
itself the action.
Yes.
Learning is action, and also action is from learning. Both.
Both.
You see, that's what I'm trying to get at. Learning is action, and action from learning. Look, sir, what they're doing in America. I told you. Some of you must have read it. or as somebody was talking to me the other day, that in some of the factories in California, I believe, they are letting the worker learn as he's doing.
They learn in working.
In working,
Yes.
which they find is much more productive than just give him a job and let him repeat that. They're making more money that way, therefore, etc. So here we are doing this. You follow?
Yes, yes. Animalistic is before learn or know and then act. Here no. The both they are
Yeah.
inactive.
The learning and the action at once.
Yeah. Are we doing that? Not as a theory.
Yes, yes.
Actually, am I doing this in life, daily life? Now, don't say, agree, this was extraordinary. Watch yourself, sirs. You see what it does? Then life becomes tremendously interesting. Living. Not that. I don't know if you're following this. Huh? Is it clear or not clear? So learning itself is the discipline which is action and from that discipline of learning, I'm using the word discipline not in the orthodox sense but in a different sense. From that discipline of learning, the daily activities, going to the office, sleep, eating, you follow, has a different quality in it. I don't know if you have noticed it. The mind is much more watchful, you follow?
Sorry, difference in between learning and learn. Learn is stopped and dead.
That's right.
Learning is always in the face of the unknown, the new.
Going on.
Right? Are we doing this? And what does it mean? You receive an insight. The animalistic action would be a response out of an accumulated knowledge, memory, and that would dictate how you responded to that insult. But we see the whole mechanism of that. Now you receive an insult, and your mind is in a state of learning. Now how do you respond to that? It's like becomes a professor in the class. Sorry, I don't mean it. A teacher in the class. How do I respond?
I think one begins to watch what's going on, to see how you are being pushed around.
Yes, sir.
Find out whether the insult is justified to a certain extent.
Yes, justified, true,
That's all
No,
What
wait.
happens then is the response becomes more interesting than the feeling. It becomes more interesting to watch it than to respond to the insult.
Well, there's
With
no
no emotion, can it be
there's no-
simultaneous, the reaction and the watching?
You work it out.
One thing, there's much more clear-sightedness. One just sees without blockage.
I insult you. Actually, I insult you. You and I insult you because I'm still the animal. And you are still the animal, and you respond. You hit me or say another insult.
Insult back.
Insult back. Now, I insult you, and you're learning. Now, what happens?
I try to see the real meaning of the insult. What is concerning the insult, if there is some real in what you try to say with the insult.
Yes, sir, that's
there
understood.
seems
Those
to be-
are infantile.
There seems to
I mean,
be-
to move.
listen to the feeling.
Huh?
I listen to the feeling.
Seems that there's a
No
sort of
emotion.
there's a reaction, but then it passes very quickly. A sort of the reaction is somehow
Mine doesn't pass so quickly. It goes
Now
on
be
very-
careful. You're missing a central issue, aren't you? What is learning?
Yeah.
Learning is not accumulative. Therefore, it must be an instantaneous response. Not, I'll watch my... You have missed that point. You see,
That's an accumulation.
you have forgotten... Sorry. You get it?
But then, I mean, that's
Watch it. Why? Don't look. I insult you, and you're learning. Your mind is learning. You don't say, I'll watch my feeling, my response, the words, is it true, is it false? If it is true, I'll accept it, if it's false. You follow?
That's animalistic.
No, don't put it away. Don't answer quickly by animalistic. Just watch it, sir. Be quiet and watch it. Sorry, I'm
Yeah,
not.
that's it.
Which means you're allowing time. And time to tell you what to do. Right?
Yeah, would be what my mind is.
Time being, sir, your knowledge, your response, all that.
Yes. jump in and begin to make it go this way and that
Right.
way.
Now,
Other
so
way,
what?
then-
How? What? Come on. What am I? You have insulted me. My normal response, instinctual response, is to insult you back. Or say, no, I mustn't. Because I'm a Christian, or it isn't worth it.
I'm afraid of what you will
What
do.
the fellow will say, kick me back in harder, so I must hold it back, and so on, so on, so on, so on. Or see the truth of it and go into it and all that implies an element of time, and the additive process dictating. Right, sir? Huh? So, that's not the way to learn. Right? Huh?
Of course.
No, sir, be careful. Don't agree so quickly. Do be quiet. Do listen quietly. So I have to learn. What does that mean to learn? Which must be an act of, wait, what do you think it is? I mustn't.
It seems to be, as you were just saying, an action. Something is happening inside, that's all. It's not merely...
Somebody tells me I'm a damn fool. Calls me a damn fool. I know the usual responses, but my mind has understood the usual responses and says I'm learning, and actually it's learning. You follow? And what is there to learn about an insult?
It doesn't mean anything.
Anything.
What?
Nothing.
Yes.
But you have spent 10 minutes in that. So I'm learning. You follow, sir? I'm trying to find out what it means to learn. You follow? Not the insult, all the rest of it. What does it mean to learn? Yes, I know. Mustn't the mind be always fresh? Huh? Always innocent in the sense non-accumulative. And it's only then it can learn. No?
Yes, well, that says that there's nothing.
So what happens when you insult me? Huh? If there is something to be learned, I learn it immediately and move on. I don't spend a second on it.
Yes,
Accumulating, judging, is it true, is it false? You follow it?
Is it possible that we learn it immediately, but then we begin to doubt it and to...
No.
stuff comes
Learning
in?
is learning. You can't doubt
Yeah,
about
but I meant that the animal comes in and
Yes,
begins
yes,
to...
yes.
Normally, and there's a point of contact with the insult, and then the reaction sets in.
Yes.
And you're saying that that's just remaining without.
Now, what is very important is, isn't it, to see the state of the mind that's learning. For the mind to see itself, the state in which learning can take place. if that isn't as instinctual as the nervous pain, which you withdraw, then we'll go back to saying, is this right, is this wrong, is this so? I don't. So have I really seen what is implied in learning? Has this mind, my mind, seen what it means to learn?
Can we discuss that 3 minutes among us?
Oh,
Would you give us 3 minutes?
with me, 10 minutes, I'm delighted.
Don't interfere.
I look out the
All
window,
right.
I love it.
I would like to put you the following questions. We're asking, what's learning? Since our consciousness is the animal, learning is included in that. Where does learning come from? If the animal is noise, learning must be silence. That means that silence is included in the noise. It is not clear to you, Professor? If I am angry, terribly angry, and I want to learn, I must be silent at the same time. Anger must include silence to learn about itself. Does it make sense? How can I learn in the middle of my terrible anger if I have not at the same time the silent soil to learn? So consciousness must include probably also the capacity of silence. Noise includes the capacity of silence. Otherwise it will be something external. From where do we learn? Since we are the noise. Since we are only the noise, we are only the animalistic, let us find out. The question is, what's learning? And I am asking, that learning comes from what? From outside or from inside? If it is inside, I'm only noise. So, do noise include also silence?
I don't know. I mean,
Is that a stupid question? Well, tell me
I don't
frankly.
know. I mean,
Can they not exist simultaneously?
Huh?
Can they not exist
Yes.
simultaneously?
That's what I'm asking.
Without
That's my
producing-
question. That's exactly my question. Do they exist? So, noise includes silence, silence includes noise.
It may be that that's a question of language. You see that as soon as you go into the domain of the known, you split everything up into noise and silence.
Well, I am only the known, friend. I am asking now, how shall I understand through my known, how shall I understand learning?
Well, there's no way through the known. You see that, it seems to me, anyway, that
Yes. Well,
one must begin by learning. You see that there's nothing to do but to learn, and then that is it.
Are you such a tremendous noise in such an awful state of anger? Awful
sometimes
state, terrible state of anger?
it happens.
Are you such a complete...
Well, those murderers are in that.
I'm not a murderer.
I'm not saying that you are in anger.
No, but I mean to say the complete brute, the dog which bites, is in a state of complete anger.
Well, even if
But
I insult
something
you
has
and you reply, that's enough. I'm just insulting you and you just react. That reaction is enough.
All depends on the intensity of the reaction.
Well, we react every minute.
You see, I think that if there's any time that passes, then this reaction will take place. I mean, that's clear, isn't it? Now, now the question, you see, which you cannot approach from the known, and that is, well, this learning is not reacting.
No.
It seems to me,
No,
you
it
see,
is
that if you
something-
just learned, you see, now,
Something which does not move.
yes, now the difficulty is that the reaction comes in and it interferes with or destroys the learning. You see that?
Yeah, but what we
The
say.
reaction is the I, isn't it? And
Yes,
emotions
yes.
all included?
Yes, natural, natural.
Well, that is
Yes, but look,
the state of mind we are...
we have understood now that if I learn why you insert me and step, there has been no insert.
Not if you learn why.
You want to know if there's room for both. Is there room for both? You want to
There is no space to take it in, study it in, and then move. It
Well,
is a
okay.
movement, immediate
But
movement.
look, suppose I see immediately that this insult has no meaning. I mean, then there's no...
If
but-
you say something, you are again in the know.
No,
You
I'm
can't
not
say-
only saying it to you, but I'm saying that that happens immediately.
But
This-
no,
So that immediacy is included, which is that movement is included in the other one.
I see that when you insult me, you are operating with the machine, the squirrel, and I am reacting with the squirrel.
Yes.
Therefore, I see that this is this is only
previsible.
words. What?
It's predictable.
It's not only
Yes.
that, but it's
Yes, that we know.
meaningless. You
Yes,
see.
yes.
Therefore, now if you say if something is meaningless, what then it stops.
but on the other hand, it may be meaningful. And even so,
I
should
won't
not
say
react.
anything, because if I say it is meaningless, I
No,
remember
I'm not
it.
saying it. I'm saying that it's
But it may be
All
all
right.
may have some content to it.
Oh, but we're not talking about content.
Yes,
no,
no,
we're just
but
talking
he was
about
saying if one sees that the insult is meaningless, then one doesn't react. But perhaps it does have some meaning, and still one should not react.
I don't
In other words, it's not a matter of analysing the
think
insult.
content
no.
has any meaning here.
Would you react to an insult of a child? No, of course, because it has no meaning. I think
How
that
can
is-
how
That's
can
right, what she
mechanical
said.
things have meaning?
But if you see that all of us are the same as a child,
Yes, you
Then
don't
that's the
react
same
if
meaning.
a child insults you, you laugh.
but when I say it has no meaning, I don't mean that the words come that it has no meaning. These are only the
It only
statements.
has meaning within the squirrel realm.
And this program, this is only the statement. In the moment of learning, it has no meaning. Now, then, therefore, there's no reaction. But as soon as one starts to analyze it, it takes on meaning, and therefore there's a reaction.
That's why, sir, isn't it very important to find out what it means to learn? Monsieur De Vida's question would be answered, I think, if we both understood, he and I, what is learning. We discussed this about the reaction, whether silence is noise is silence, because we both haven't really understood the full meaning of that word. Huh?
The word
And
learning.
huh?
The word learning.
Learn.
We have not lived it.
Learn. No.
There is the intellectual understanding.
No. We said you and I have not understood the meaning, the nature, and the significance, or the etc. of the word learning. Look, sir, what is taking place now? What is taking place now? You know what the meaning, what it means to learn. I don't. And I am putting questions which are not in the act of learning. So if my whole concern was with learning, then our insult would have a different content. That's all I'm saying. Leave insult. I'm sorry I brought that in. What does this act of learning mean? Not intellectually, then that's all too childish and immature, intellectual understanding. And throw it overboard. There's no meaning. It's like somebody saying, I understand you intellectually. Give me a kick in the pants. It's silly. Sorry, don't kick in the pants, don't. What does it mean, sir? I think as long as that isn't absolutely clear, and that isn't the complete intent of each one of us, then we'll wander off, we'll get lost, completely lost. If that is clear, then any question can be, from there can be dealt. But if, as the Veda says, noise, silence, I get confused. But when I say, look, let's keep our intent clear, which is, what does learning mean? Or is there no such thing but only accumulation, knowledge, and the usual phenomena of learning, which is additive? I don't know, right? The additive process, somebody says, is not learning. Mm-hmm. And do I see that? I say that's a cuckoo idea, absurd. And I go on. But if he points it out to me logically, sanely, what is implied, then what you say, I listen to. I listen to what you say. But have we come to the point when when we are merely accepting, or are we really searching out? I'm using the word searching out in the sense to find out what it means to learn, even verbally. Right, sir? Verbally I'm talking about, not intellectual, verbally. I want to tell you something. Do I put it in clear words that you understand what I mean? That's all. At that level, we are still at that level. Because it seems to me the whole crux of the matter is in this learning.
Nature.
Huh? Because the squirrel, the ape, the man can go round and round and round indefinitely, infinitely. Up and down and sideways, or anyway. And is there another way of learning whose action is not accumulative, but not disorderly, contradictory?
This learning can begin even when you are in this state
Of the animal.
contradiction, yes, which was just described.
So that's why, sir, I said I must, and it's like chewing a fruit to the very, you follow, there is no juice left out of it, just the bare stone. I want to be so clear about this learning. And then I can find out, then I can learn about the whole activity or the everyday activity of the animal.
we learn about learning first, and then,
That's it.
then we can go on from there.
Yeah, that's right, sir. I mean, this really assumes a tremendous lot, you follow? Assumes first never taking a position. Never taking a position of certainty or uncertainty. Never relying on knowledge and experience. So, as an engineer, how would you act in the state of learning? Knowing you have to use technological knowledge, knowing that you have to use the knowledge that you have accumulated, you follow, sir? What would be your what would it mean to learning there?
Making a relation of my knowledge with the new fact. And then, in this case, go to a conclusion, to a decision.
Let's say, now, if you were learning, if you understood the whole meaning of learning, how would you act there? I wonder if I have made the question.
Yes.
Is it that there would be more space in the mind, so that you're above the situation?
That's lots of people are.
Yes. But I mean, in engineering, can it be anything but that?
I'm just asking. What's my relationship to my wife then?
Well, that's different.
No.
Same
The
thing.
same thing.
The same job, the same one.
No, I mean, a person is...
No, go into it, sir. Watch it. You and I are not married, but watch it. Huh?
Is that the knowledge? I mean, is it a comparable thing, really? Because the overtones, psychological overtones to engineering don't have to exist, do they?
Oh,
yes. They may, but they don't have to. I mean, it is not.
What about is there a necessity for psychological overtones to the wife? You see, isn't it the same
No,
problem? What? I mean, because if psychological overtones cause trouble in engineering, they will cause trouble in any relationship.
Well, I can see how they might be not in engineering, or conceivably not. And
see
I
how they
don't take a
wouldn't be.
position on that. I don't really think it's much time.
But I mean, well, it seems they have the same, similar problem.
It's exactly the
They're
same.
both facts,
It's
you
a
see.
habit.
What you say that the two problems against a
Are
technical
similar.
problem against a problem of that, the position is the same.
Similar.
Yes,
Same.
very much the
Same.
same, yes,
Same.
exactly.
Absolutely the same because we pick up in our preceding knowledge to face the problem.
Now, how would you answer?
Mm.
You're going to face that next week, as an engineer. How do you act? What is the act of learning when you have to air condition a ship? And what is the act of learning when you're going to meet your wife?
You should just meet perhaps and forget all my knowledge and go a new kind of...
No, not perhaps. What is the act of learning? We haven't understood that. That's why we're all.
Well,
Freshly.
Could I say, something from yesterday that you were going over the development of intelligence, and
Yes,
at a
sir.
certain stage you said stop and look at what happened. Is that it? Now it seems that when we learn from the past, then that's something different from continuing the past. Is
Yes,
that it?
yes. Intelligence, you see, sir? Intelligence. I'm glad you brought that word. Now, the animalistic intelligence is accumulative, capacity and so on. That's clear. And the act of and learning is supreme form of intelligence without additive. Now, that intelligence is going to operate, isn't it? Huh? In learning, right?
Yes.
So it is beyond knowledge.
And then, don't keep still, keep quiet, sir. We're just looking. We're too quick. There is the animalistic intelligence, and there is the intelligence which is non-accumulative, which is the intelligence of learning. Intelligence of learning, which is entirely different from the animalistic intelligence, which is accumulative.
Which starts from the past.
Yes, and that the two are clear, right? Now, he has an engineering problem next week. Is he watch it, sir, watch it. Is he going to operate from the accumulated knowledge, which he has to, or is he going to act from that intelligence of learning, and that intelligence of learning is going to use technological knowledge?
It includes it, doesn't it?
Yeah, that go slow, go slow, go slow. You see, sir, learning, the intelligence of learning is something with which you and I are not familiar. Not familiar in the sense accumulated. We don't know what it means, actually. But we do know the intelligence of accumulation. And when I meet a situation, I respond to it according to the accumulated intelligence. That I know. And also we know very well you cannot put aside technological knowledge. But, or rather not but, and the intelligence of learning has to operate. It isn't something different. It has to operate, there is no value. Right, sir?
It exists when it operates.
Yes, it exists when it operates. Right? So, this mind has this intelligence of learning and is going to meet a problem which demands technological knowledge. Right?
Yes.
Now what takes place? Am I making the thing clear? Huh? Right. Yeah. What takes place, sir?
God knows, he may invent quite another way of doing things, yeah? He sees the problem as a new problem, and
Now,
something
you'll
can
answer
happen.
it, sir. You'll answer it. Not, you tell me what you...
Dr. Rani, when you've done a job, do you say, there is a know-how and an application of it, or do you say, I've learned something in doing it?
Ah, no. Sorry. No, sir. That is the real commercial intelligence. And adding, please forgive me, that we're not talking about. We're missing something in this, aren't we? Huh?
I mean, the intelligence is not the question of what you have learned. That is not important, what you learn.
No.
We're missing something in this.
Would it involve seeing the thing first?
No, my lady. No.
It's not, is it, that one is applying learning to a problem like that? Is that there is a state of learning?
Yes, that's all. Huh?
So I have a problem. And there are many solutions in my memory. My memory has many solutions. Usually, I compare and I take the way is the best one of all. But it means for me an effort and always insecurity.
Yes.
Or are you asking if there is another way in which memory doesn't work? And
I'm a cuckoo.
Memory is always there.
My usual way is that.
Then,
Choice in between
yes,
my knowledge and to choice the
yes,
one.
I understand that. Then, where does the intelligence of learning operate? Huh? Where does intelligence operate in that sense which we are using?
Well, I don't know. It seems it looks at the past, at the memory, and attentively. And in that looking, there is something new appears. You see that we understand something new. That
I would say the intelligence operates in the looking at the problem.
He's saying the intelligence has not met with the solution. The problem is there, and the intelligence has gone around and didn't found the right solution. Then what's the energy that...
Look, sir, you are not being quiet. you're not really, forgive me please, you're not really listening to the problem. You're answering the problems. You're answering the question, not listening to the question. I mean, the question is, in the intelligence of learning operating every minute, right? Only whether it is technology, you follow? Wife, children, driving a car, cleaning your toothbrush, cleaning not your toothbrush, cleaning your teeth. That's an idea too. That's our question. Huh? Right? Are we not putting a wrong question to say, how will it operate under certain circumstances? I think that's the wrong question.
Because that's abstract.
That's all. When there is the intelligence of learning, it will operate rightly at that moment. So my concern is not how it will act with regard to a certain thing, certain situation, but rather learning the intelligence. You follow?
Is it there or not?
What?
Rather, is it there or not?
No. You see, you're always, is it there or not? Or learning, my whole concern is to learn the intelligence of learning. Learning about that intelligence, which is non-accumulative. Learning is not accumulative. Then learning is the awakening, or the is the very act of intelligence. Right, sir? Learning is the very act of intelligence.
Yes, it has no other existence.
Yes. Huh? Do I understand that very clearly? Do I know that not is there this word? Am I learning? That's all. I'm come back to that thing. And that learning is producing this intelligence. You follow what I mean? Again, wrong. That very learning is intelligence.
Learning is intelligence. There's one movement.
Yes.
Which is
That learning is intelligence.
There's no quality of intelligence that is separate.
Being employed.
Learning is intelligence. Goodness, what a lot we have worked to come to very simple thing.
But then there can be no time in it.
Oh, that's of course.
Yes.
Do we understand that, sir? You see, the squirrel, the ape, the man moves from the outside to the inside. Right? Now, we say that whole of that business is wrong. wrong, you know what I mean. And we are saying that learning is a movement from no center. Oh, fine.
Isn't it reflection which is done with intelligence is not conditioning? It stops conditioning. An action which is purely technological
Well, natural,
and that stops conditioning.
Natural. You see, so we are still, not that I'm discouraging or encouraging, we're still scratching the surface, you follow? Grazie. I suppose that's all one can do, really. I mean, that's all an outsider can do. Because, as we were saying yesterday, that this intelligence of learning brings about its own transformation. which is real mutation. Mutation is not possible in the sense we are talking of mutation for the animal.
So could you say he stops at a certain place?
Yes. We are talking of a mutation of intelligence which has transformed itself.
Which is transforming.
Which is transforming itself. That is the only mutation.
I mean, you want to say its very existence is mutation, and one that requires one misses it because it's so fast. I mean.
Yes, yes. That's why I said at the beginning of this talk, the learning about the activities of the squirrel is as important. That's only learning, here or there. But the activities of this animal can never, it can change, it can modify, it can never mutate. I don't Hein?
Yes. Quand vous dites l'intelligence qui se transforme, est-ce que je peux prendre pour traduire en français l'ancienne image du cygne qui sépare l'eau du lait? Ce n'est pas une transformation, c'est une décantation. Transforme.
Je comprends.
C'est plutôt. Elle se transforme en. On ne peut pas dire qu'elle se purifie, mais.
Ah non, 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 non. This is completely different.
Elle ne se transforme pas non plus.
That's why. This is completely different from that. It isn't oil, water and milk. There, I mean, the animalistic desire to change is still within the bondage of time. That's simple. When that is understood, when that is learned, sorry.
So when one is learning that.
Well, yeah, put better. When one is learning that, then that very learning is the beginning of mutation, or is mutation. No, but you see, sir, there's something more, much more to it, you see. That's just, you follow? That's only the beginning of a movement in mutation.
You mean that this movement further mutates?
Yes, yes. I won't go into, you follow?
I know, but I mean that there's something capable of. It couldn't be mutation unless it were always mutating. I mean.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Therefore, you'll have to stop. You see.
Yes, that's why I said learning is mutation, is intelligence, is a different dimension, is something else.
I mean, you see, the animal is collecting, accumulating, and changing, and trying to change something in that accumulation. So it seems that the past is the main thing, and he's adding or subtracting a little bit every minute.
That's right, sir.
Now you are saying that this is totally different. That the movement, the mutation, is what is, and the accumulation.
It can go on.
It can go on, but
yes.
It's a small part of it.
Yes. But, I mean, it can go on modified, or you know what I mean. One pair.
But all this includes the accumulation.
Yes, that's right.
They seem to have something new. They only change disposition of the same materials. In the other case, you have a changing of material, really.
Yes, yes, transformation in the genes itself.
Well, would you say it's a change of material, or rather that the change itself, the movement itself, is what you were talking about?
Yes.
You see that it's not
There's no material besides the movement.
The movement is contained. The material is contained in the movement. I mean.
So what is also interesting that it's in the beginning learning and intelligence seems to different things. Now learning is intelligence.
Of course, otherwise I've come to that, sir, by seeing the activities of the animal, learning about the activity is intelligence. Of course, otherwise I think we better stop, don't you? Rather early, but
May I ask a question? To accumulate, the intelligence needs words and images. And so when it has mutated, it doesn't need any more word, either images.
oh, I don't quite understand, sir. You mean the animalistic activity needs words, symbols, things.
Yes.
Things, man. And the symbol that represents the thing, or the word that represents the thing. Now, and you say the learning, the intelligence that's learning, or learning which is intelligence, doesn't need things, symbols, or words. Is that it?
It needs it to accumulate. If I don't need to, if I see that accumulation is a stop, I don't need any more.
But
the use of words or images.
Yes, but sir, to communicate, we need words.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
We use words now that the word intelligence is not the symbol, is not the word, but we're talking of the thing itself, right? But we have to use the word to indicate the thing, but the thing is not the word.
But do you ever use the word to indicate the thing to yourself? I mean, when you think about it? No.
No.
Not even to begin?
No. The thing is the thing, not the word.
But I mean, not even to indicate.
Why should I indicate to myself when I see?
Yes, so it's a question of...
It's only the word is used when I tell you, communicate. But that's very important, sir. No, that's very important.
That's a very difficult point.
That's quite right, sir. That's very interesting too. When as long as you are talking to yourself, the word is necessary. Soliloquy, thinking, word is necessary, but the fact, the tree, or this, word is not necessary. There is direct.
I see. So instead of starting with the word intelligence and going on, you have to start with the intelligence.
That's right. That's what I was coming in a different way. Yes, I
but
think
it's
so.
very hard, of course.
It's a very difficult problem. It's a very difficult thing to see. Many philosophers who say it's impossible to think without words, therefore it's impossible.
I know.
to
I don't.
You know, yes, of course.
Oh, of course, I know
So
all the tricks. I know, but
it's
I'm not thinking.
That's it.
I'm not thinking.
That's it.
You're looking directly. You're being.
Why should I think about?
That's it. You see.
I mean, it's wrong to say when you're looking. You are directly.
In relation with that.
Yeah.
The thing is the separation from the thing. The word is the separation from the thing.
Word, accumulation, knowledge, all the rest of it. It's only we use the word to communicate. But I'm not communicating myself when I looked at that mountain.
say we're doing an engineering problem, although you must read words.
Of course.
But that's, I mean, it's not clear. What is your, and then that's communication.
Somebody's communicating
Through the book.
Yeah.
Of course, for to tell somebody should do this,
Yeah.
or it's a.
Those are symbols or images, the engineering.
Now that you see what Dr. Bohm is asking is something a little different, isn't it? He is asking, is when you see that, or when you see this inside the skin or outside the skin, do you use the word? Huh? No?
Depends if you're learning. It depends if you're learning.
Ah, no, sir, don't come back. Forget the learning. Huh? Huh?
I don't use words when I see it. I see it itself.
Yes. So, do you do the same? That's all right. There. That's all right. I can look at that and say I don't use the word. But do you do the same when inside the skin? Of course not. We use word immediately.
Because it seems too fast and subtle to do without words,
Just
right?
did. There, that's static.
Yes.
Static, it's
Relatively
static. But here it is
very, very fast.
very fast. Therefore, I use the word to identify and nail it,
Yes.
fix it.
And therefore I'm not looking at it. Right? But I'm wanted another question. Even when I use words, you see, either in talking together or in reading the book, that you see that the point is that you're discussing that the intelligence, even in the presence of words,
That's right, sir.
is not using words.
Words, that's right, that's right.
And the words are part of the fact, if you...
Yes. That if I can separate the thing and the word, that is, the word is not the thing. I tell you the mountain. And that mountain, I point that mountain, it's static, it is relatively static, and I can point it out with a gesture and you look at that. But when I use the word anger, jealousy, I am communicating with you about a feeling which I have had or which I am having, and the word to you that my anger isn't real.
No. Right now, but could you say if we don't have the word, then my anger is real to you? Is that it? I mean, no, I want to understand.
Then you can't communicate.
It can't be. It can't be. What I meant was, I misunderstood the way you were using it.
It's common to you both.
All right.
We use words only for communication.
Yes.
And also we use the word to make the feeling static, so that I can look at it.
Yes. But suppose we have anger and we cannot communicate anger. Right?
I keep quiet. I boil, all the adrenal glands boil themselves, and I do something. Or I keep absent, I don't react. You follow?
If you say the word anger to us, don't we respond?
Of course,
to our own anger?
of course. No, the point is there a thinking, a state of mind when the word is not? Right? That is the real question.
That's what I wanted to ask you.
Yes. When the word, the symbol, the urge to communicate is not.
But then, since you're now communicating, can you say there's not this state of mind?
No, I think there is.
There is, but that's what I want to get to. That the word may be there, but in another way.
It's like a drum, sir.
Yeah.
That's all. The drum is always empty, and you tap on it, the noise is there.
What is the noise? The word?
The word,
Yes.
the sound.
Or the echo of the sound.
The sound is good enough, not complicated. The sound, from within or from without. Yes, I think we better stop. We had an hour and a half. Anyhow.